Picture a city, the heart of a nation, the capital of China, teeming with life and dreams. Then, almost overnight, it becomes a target. On the horizon, you hear the thunder of marching boots, see the glint of steel, and feel the ground shake from the roar of artillery. In early December 1937, the Japanese army began a campaign that would change the city of Nanjing, then often spelled Nanking in the West, forever. This isn't just a story about battles and retreat. It's a story of ambition, desperation, invasion, and collapse, and the catastrophic human suffering that followed. Today, we delve into the Battle of Nanking, how it started, how it was fought, and how it descended into one of the darkest chapters of modern warfare. When the brutal Battle of Shanghai ended in a military defeat for China, the victorious Japanese army turned its eyes toward the Chinese capital. Their goal was clear: capture Nanking and force China to surrender. The Chinese National Revolutionary Army, battered from Shanghai, began to withdraw towards the capital. On one side stood the Chinese forces, a patchwork of retreating units, hastily assembled garrison troops under the command of General Tang Shengji, and overarching orders from Chiang Kai-shek to defend the capital at all costs. On the other side was the Imperial Japanese Army, commanded by General Iwano Matsui, advancing swiftly with the intent to cut off any hope of defense or escape. The Japanese advance from Shanghai to Nanking was both brutal and rapid. Starting on November 11th, they marched relentlessly, smashing through defensive lines, outpacing retreating Chinese soldiers, and crushing any resistance in their path. The journey that should have taken months took mere weeks. By December 9th, they had reached the formidable walls of Nanking. On December 10th, the Japanese launched their all-out assault. Waves of soldiers stormed the city's ancient fortifications. The fighting was fierce, but the defenders were outmatched and exhausted. Just 2 days later, on December 12th, the city's defenses crumbled and Nanking fell. But what did the fall of the city truly mean? For the defenders, it meant absolute chaos. The final defensive line, known as the Fukuo Line, collapsed completely. General Tang's troops, already fragmented and demoralized, began to rout. Command and control broke down entirely. Panic swept through the soldiers and the civilian population. Faced with total collapse, the Chinese leadership ordered a retreat, but for tens of thousands, it was already far too late. And this is where the story takes a horrifying turn. The fall of the city was not the end of the violence. It was the beginning of a massacre. In the weeks that followed, within the city walls and in the surrounding countryside, thousands upon thousands of unarmed soldiers and civilians were systematically killed. The exact number is still debated by historians, but most credible estimates place the death toll somewhere between 100,000 and 300,000 people. What began as a battle spiraled into a mass atrocity of unimaginable scale. Why did this happen? There's no single, simple answer. The ferocity of the battle, a deep-seated desire for vengeance after the heavy losses at Shanghai, and a complete breakdown of discipline within the invading army all combined to create a perfect storm of violence. The Japanese soldiers, who had expected a swift and glorious capture of the capital, instead unleashed chaos and lawlessness upon its people. Horrifying images and accounts of soldiers looting, burning, and killing became tragically common. Yet this story is more than just a chronicle of horror. Behind the lines of suffering lies a broader context. The wartime strategy of Imperial Japan, the global political implications, the deep and lasting trauma inflicted on China's national psyche, and how this single event continues to affect East Asian relations to this day. From a purely military perspective, the capture of Nanking was a major strategic victory for Japan. They had taken their enemy's capital, but it was a victory that came at a terrible moral cost, staining the reputation of their army forever. For the Chinese people, it was a shattering, humiliating blow, and the human toll was simply staggering. Many historians argue that the events in Nanking didn't just escalate the military conflict. They marked the collapse of any pretense of protecting civilian lives in the war that followed. The Battle of Nanking was a tipping point. It became a brutal symbol of how total war can erase the fragile line between soldier and civilian, between combatant and non-combatant. As we reflect on these events, one profound question looms. What does a battle become when it turns into a massacre? And how do we, as a global community, remember such a moment? Today, the city of Nanjing stands as a modern, vibrant metropolis. But it also holds memorials, museums, and survivor testimonies, offering an unflinching gaze into its painful past, ensuring that what happened is never forgotten. For everyone watching this video, you're not just learning about dates, troop movements, or military strategies. You are confronting the raw human consequences of war. You are seeing the results of decisions made in moments of ambition, fear, and desperation, and the devastating impact on the human beings caught in the middle. So, stay with me as we continue to trace the fall of the city, the march of the invaders, the collapse of the defense, and the eruption of terror. We will explore the stories of those who resisted, those who suffered, and those who tried to help, like the Westerners who created the Nanking safety zone. Because this isn't just a story about a battle. This is history crying out for remembrance, and it demands that we listen. Thank you for watching, and if you find this content important, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more deep dives into history.